Why is he just sitting there? Drove past, just sitting there. Show of force, intimidation. I'm on private property. I don't know what his issue is. National Forest Service, Law Enforcement. Just always want to mess with me. And every time I'm engaged in legal, lawful activity, here they are. He drove past, saw me out here on private property, came back 20 minutes later, decides to park there. Just let me know they're watching me. For what? Oh, this psychotic law enforcement officers. Out of fucking control. Is he coming back? Sounds like he's turning around. There he goes. No reason. Just to sit there and fuck with me. I beat him in court. Tried to get me on some bullshit charges. Doesn't know his damn job. Didn't know that pack goats are recognized by the National Forest Service as pack stock. Tried to find me $530. And this is what I get. Did everything I could do to keep him from looking like a fool in court. Tried to tell him that they were pack goats. That we were only on the National Forest Service lands to train and condition and educate. But he said I needed a special permit. I needed a grass muzzle. I needed all this other special equipment. And then I think what got him was that I wasn't cooperative about giving my ID. Something about that ID is just crack, you guys. So I did everything I could do to make him, keep him from looking like a fool in court. And he threatened me. He gave me an unlawful lawful order. An unlawful lawful order to violate my Fifth Amendment. They already had me detained. And I wasn't in violation of any type of issue. Everybody agrees. Except for him. The DA agrees that I was engaged in legal lawful activity. Now this is the same fellow that followed me through town, in town, on the state road, running my plates as well. I'm telling you, man, these guys are out of control. There's no recourse against them, so they think they can do whatever they want. I'm just out here minding my own business. We're doing our thing. You know, it's... Now, folks, there you are. This is what we're doing. Oh my, I'm a criminal. Oh my, I'm such a bad person. And that's exactly how he's treating me because I didn't cooperate with him. You know, you can't comply with tyranny and you can't comply with tyrants. And shout out to 10th Amendment. You cannot comply to these people. They were making things up that didn't exist. I even made fun of them whenever they were telling me all these things that I know don't exist in the National Forest Service regulations pertaining to livestock and backstock. Been running in livestock and backstock for years. So I've had to read the state statute on what it is here. It's a fence them out state. It's a fence them out state. And so there's rules and regulations that I had to know those. Also the National Forest, because we ran cattle and everything, horses and cattle on National Forest Service lands. So I know what the rules and regulations are. And I even questioned him. The second time he threatened me, you know, I'm on private property just like this. Shows up, calls me over. I go to meet with him. He goes, "You're on National Forest Service lands again, Mr. Robert." I'm like, "Nope, this is private property. You have no jurisdiction here." And I said, "Here's the sign, there's a sign, there's a sign, there's a sign, there's a sign. You had to check it." One is no black box, dummy box, to make sure that I was on private property. He said, "Yep, you're on private property." I'm like, "Yeah, I know I'm on private property. I just told you I was on private property." Then he asked me about my court date. He said, "Oh, you should have had your court date here recently." I'm like, "Yeah, I did." He goes, "How'd that go?" I said, "It went pretty well." I'm like, pretty good. He got this very confused look on his face. He started looking left, right. Huh? I'm about to bust up laughing at the guy. He goes, "What do you mean, pretty good?" I said, "Oh, they're gonna drop the charges." And that's when he went ballistic. He kept his cool to a point. Getting dark out here. And that's whenever he went into his tirade and showed me how much of an idiot and how much ill training these people have. National Forest Service does not recognize pack goats as pack stock. If I see you on the National Forest Service lands with your livestock, I'm going to cite you. And I just shrugged my shoulders like, yeah, there's nothing I can do to stop you from citing me, but I know you're not going to win in court. You're I didn't say it to him, but, there's a lot of body language there. They're like, okay, yeah, so what? Yeah, write me up all you want. So I guess I bruised his ego. So now he just has to come out here, have a show for, stop right on the property line. When he drove by, I wasn't ready. I was just hanging out with the goats. And he drove by with his window down, just staring. And that's whenever I realized, oh, that's Officer Draughn. Oh, look at that. Here he goes. So I'm out here, just mind my own business. He drives up through the National Forest, does his little round, comes back. He's driving by. I waved at him. And that's when I wave at everybody. I don't care. He's not my enemy. He wants me to be his enemy, but, God bless him. But he's taking this a little too far, getting a little too personal. He's taking it too personal. So I'm not safe around this guy. I just want to document that I am not safe around Officer Draughn. He has it out for me. National Forest Service, LEI, and Columbine, in the Columbine district of the San Juan Mountains. I don't know. I tried to keep him from looking like a fool, kept making himself look like a fool. Didn't even show up for court. Didn't even show up for court. So that's why he came out here to talk to me about my court date. He just wanted to rub salt in the wound, I guess. Saw me on private property. Boy, he thought he had me. He thought he had me again. But whenever he didn't have me, well, again, he never even had me in the first place, but he thought he could cite me, but he had nothing. So then that's whenever he starts playing cop, and I obliged him, just so they just know that this is private property, that the goats are here doing a service, doing weed and fire mitigation. And whenever I told him that they're here doing weed and fire mitigation, he goes, "Oh, weed mitigation, huh?" Just try to escalate things in a very childish, immature way. I felt like I was in high school again. Got the running back of the football team wanting to pick a fight with me, and they did, and they lost. Isn't that amazing? Oh man! So he threatened me. Even the CEO of National Forest Service lands. Okay, here's the rules and regulations. I didn't have it memorized, but I did ask him, what is the definition of pack stock? And he'd pull that cop shit and just remain silent. He can remain silent. He can exercise his Fifth Amendment, but not me, not you. We'll never be able to exercise that Fifth Amendment with a tyrant like that. He wanted to arrest me for it, but whenever I caught him on his own definitions, he wanted to remain silent because he would have to admit that the definition of pack stock is livestock. First word is livestock in their own National Forest Service regulations, 36 CFR 261.1, and the exemptions, which I'm reciting now, is 261.2. Clearly states. Then you look up the definition. You have to go into keywords. Definition, pack stock, livestock. All right, well, he and I both agree that it's livestock. It's livestock. So that automatically makes him pack stock. And I have a documented history from the time I bought him with the intent of being pack stock completely, not for meat, not for milk. I will utilize the meat, I will utilize the milk, and I do. That's all part of it. That's all the fun of it. Skeeters are coming out. And get the full moon behind us here. It's a full moon, so the psychos came out. My neighbor's acting up as well, hunting me down, following me, shadowing me on the property. People just don't like goats, I guess. He's been pretty good, but he's the one that kept calling the National Forest Service, giving false reports. Both the landowner and I told him and showed him and sent him the regulations and that pack stock are allowed on National Forest Service lands. But he called, and that neighbor called up there just complaining. Majority of the time I was on private property. They probably didn't know that it was private property and probably didn't care. And they would say I was on National Forest Service lands. Grazing. Now, I never grazed on the trails. I walked the trails. They graze here. I have no reason, need or desire or a financial gain to graze my livestock, my pack stock on National Forest Service lands. Why? Because basically I'm getting paid to do it here. It needs it done here. I have everything here that's over there on the National Forest Service lands. There's nothing here that I don't need for my goats. But whatever. They just want to make a case. So that was the officer's first mistake. You got unsubstantiated allegations and harassed by the neighbors, and they had a campaign of harassment against me, harassing the landowner. They wouldn't talk to me directly, but they harassed the landowners, thinking that they can make the landowners so sick of their badgering them that they'd run me off the property. But they want the goats here. They want me here. You know, I've been here 4 years now, going on, well, before three, maybe 4 years now. Off the top of my head, get my age. Time goes so quick. Could be 5 years. No, but whatever. That was their little game of harassment. They were self-inflicted victims. Wouldn't fix or repair their fences. Left their gates open. They basically enticed the goats onto their property just so they could be victims. Now, the crossing the fence line was minor intrusions, in my opinion, and very brief because they're under supervision all the time. I get busy, I do stuff, whatever. But I got no cooperation from them. I never have gotten any cooperation from them until I finally had enough and started calling the cops on them. And told them I was going to get a civil protection order. So that's how this all started. So they had been calling the National Forest Service long before that. You know, conspired together. They would go and meet up. I would see the neighbors conspire. So the cop, Officer Draughn, tried to build a case around these allegations instead of doing an investigation, trying to find out what their motive was to even turn me in. They didn't care. What they told me was, it's only fair to him, the guy that was turning me in, his name's Cricket, turning me in, yeah, Cricket, Lloyd Stowe. He got fined for it because he was doing it intentionally, leaving his horses out overnight. He blames it on somebody else. Somebody else was opening up his gates. He would tell the landowner and I that. Somebody else would open up the gates. So I know I got fined for it. And that was his thing. And the so-called arresting officers, and I can't leave out Officer Gabe. There was 2 officers there. Officer Gabe and Officer Draughn. Both of them were just, and I made fun of them. I said, man, you guys' manual must be like 3 inches thick, because the one I read is like, a few pages of rules and regulations. And that was back in October 19th, 2024. And they did no investigation. They just made stuff up, gave me a citation, throwing shit on the wall, hoping it sticks. But I have fun with it, I guess. I like seeing them being all frustrated. You know, it's like these YouTube channels that you watch where they cops. But they just can't leave you alone, can't let you come out here and enjoy this beautiful evening. Look at those colors. Look at that moon and the way the clouds sounds or accenting it. Out here with all my best friends. And because some overzealous, butthurt, egotistical, narcissistic, National Forest tree Nazi, weed Nazi is a weed Nazi. You know, I'm not talking about marijuana, I'm talking about doggone weeds. Oh, well, your goats might have ate some weeds alongside the road, you know. That's what they told me on October 19th, both of them. That's, you know, you can't have that. Like I'm walking the road, you know, and right there, again, you know, they treat everybody like they're stupid or they're stupid and enough to think that I'm going to believe their lies. And I kept telling them, I'm going to take this to court. You're going to lose. Because I know the rules and regulations. And I kept, when Officer Draughn kept demanding my ID, I kept saying, well, you know, you got me detained. I don't have my ID on me. And in addition to that, if you tell me that you're going to cite me, I have to give you my identification. He said, he took in a deep breath. He rolled his eyes back and closed his eyelids. I'm giving you a lawful order. You can't give me a lawful order. I don't have to help you in your investigation. I'm a lawful order for what? I asked. To give me your ID. I said, I don't have to help you in your investigation against me. Well, you're interfering with my investigation, and my ID has nothing to do, my identification has nothing to do with your lack of an investigation, because you did none. And that's what I wanted to say, but I'm trying to keep it cool with them enough. But you can't negotiate with tyrants. That's all there is to it. No negotiation with tyrants. You can't comply with tyrants. Ever. You gotta stand up to these people and you gotta know, well, I don't even think they're people. He's like a robot. Stretching the rules. Just like whenever he threatened to cite me if he sees me on National Forest Service lands with my livestock. You know, the rules are very clear that I can have my livestock in National Forest Service driveways, provided there is no overnight stop on National Forest Service administered lands. That's how it reads. So, and if you need to spend the night on National Forest Service administered lands, the permit is free. All you have to do is call it. Call in, ask for the permit, it's free. So, tree Nazi, weed Nazi, that's all they are. All they want to do is break you. They think that they don't even think. They're just doing. They don't think about, he's a veteran. That's what gets me the most. He's a veteran. Told me he was a veteran. And I'm very disappointed in him as a veteran, not upholding the Constitution, the Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, unreasonable searches. Asking for your ID is an unreasonable search. And he couldn't articulate an actual crime. In his mind, it was a crime for me to be out there with my pack stock, training them and giving them exercise. But in their minds, I'm a criminal. Oh, look, my goats might have ate some weeds alongside the road. Oh my, oh my. And even the district range manager came out here on the National Forest Service, and well, that's another story, but he He actually rode his horse out here, investigating. He did an actual investigation. He rode his horse out here looking for goat tracks. He finally found goat tracks after, as he told me, some multiple days of having to be out on National Forest Service lands to find the goat tracks. And he said he looked around and saw minimal damage to the plants. I'm like, whoa, minimal damage to the plants? How do you even know it was the goats? But I didn't ask that. I didn't say that. The fellow that actually I used to guide with him years ago. And so we have a little bit of a connection there, but that ain't gonna get me anything with him. He's got a job to do, and he thinks he's doing it. And he's doing it in accordance. Well, no, I can't say that. He thinks he's just doing right. Because as soon as I mentioned to him, there was no overnight stop or stay on National Forest Service lands, because even he didn't know. But here's the thing: in that meeting that I had with the district range manager, I don't want to say his name. He's a good guy, but they're all the same. I'm the bad guy. He had seen me a number of years ago. He was on the trail, and he was on his horse, and I thought he looked familiar. We've gotten all gray and wrinkly since then. And I was impressed to even see a National Forest Service ranger or anybody out there on horseback on the trail. Something I haven't seen in 15 years. They don't go out there like that. They don't do things like that. Just ride around in their trucks looking to harass people like me on private property. Sickening. It's just absolutely sickening that they would even think about harassing. It's just a show of force and stopping like that. Oh, I can't believe people. It's all because I bruised his ego. He didn't get his satisfaction. So, really, he should be mad at these people that turned me in. That's who he should be mad at. They're the ones that used him in a game of lawfare against me. And they lost. That's what the Bible says. Dig a grave for your brother, dig one for yourself. You're gonna get trapped in your own trap. And they got trapped in their own trap. And it just took a lot of faith, a lot of time to make that happen. And that's patience, trusting in God, turning it over to God. Because the one neighbor over here, he sure did enjoy shooting over my head a lot. So I had to start calling the cops on him for that and get incident reports. So yeah, these are some of the trials and tribulations you might run into whenever you get goats. They're not bad. Got some crazy neighbors that live around here. See these power lines? I wonder if that has anything to do with it, because these people are psycho. Doesn't account for the cop. He was just born that way. What you doing, children? So that's my rant. I can go on more about it, but there's more detail I can share, but this is going long enough, 29 minutes. So this is us doing our thing. Happy goats. Happy goats. Happy shepherd. All right. God bless y'all. Good night. Watch out for the boogeyman. It might not be what you think it is. It might be that National Forest Service.
LEI, just waiting to ambush you, just waiting to get you again. All right, guys, later. Enough with the drama. Later.